Good morning. Ladies, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I want to start out by first of all saying good morning to all our viewers out there. My name is Angela Posillico, and I am the CEO for the Miss International World and Miss Latina International Pageants. And on behalf of the Global Trade Chamber and the 100 Successful Women in Business, I am so honored to be hosting this segment for Success Stories. And for everyone that is listening out there today, I have two amazing ladies with me. Kelly Flannery, who's the Chief Executive Officer of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. And I also have Diane Cortese, and she is a leader in the community of Tampa. And I believe you're also with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, correct?
I'm with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay, yes.
Great. Well, ladies, welcome. And it is such a pleasure to have you here today and be hosting with both of you. So, Kelly, I'm going to actually start with you. As President Executive Officer of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce, you're a business leader in the community. So, can you tell us a little bit about your business and how you got to be head of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce? I believe your mic is on mute.
There we go. Thank you so much for having us today. And it's great to be here with my friend Diane as well. So I'm excited to hear all of the things happening for her and her organization today as well. I'm Kelly Flannery. I'm the very proud president and CEO of the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. We're celebrating our 95th anniversary today as the voice of business in the South Tampa community, located in sunny Tampa, Florida, although it is a little overcast outside today. But we are a business association of more than 650 business owners, community leaders, and volunteers working together to make South Tampa to live, work, and play. I have had the honor of being here at the Chamber for the past 8 years as the very proud president and CEO, and getting the chance to give back to my community and to work with business owners each and every day. My background prior to being here at the Chamber is in hospitality management and membership. And so I was able to bring both of those two areas of focus together, Florida Association of Chamber Professionals. So excited for all the things that have happened in recent years for the Chamber, and looking forward to the next 95 years and the things that we're going to do next.
Oh, I like what you just said, the next 95 years, because I always say that, I'm not ready to retire at this point. And I get up every day and say, okay, if, my mother just turned 91. And if I can get to that age and still have all the faculties that she has, then I know I'm doing well. But congratulations on your accomplishments. That's absolutely amazing. And I have a lot of pageant women that are up in the Tampa area. So hopefully we can work with you and do some wonderful events up there. We're really looking forward to that. I know that Tampa is a great area. I have a friend of mine that worked in construction that did a lot of development up in the Tampa Bay area. So I'm in South Florida. I'm down in Boynton Beach. My hangouts are Fort Lauderdale, Miami. But I'm really excited to get up into the Tampa area because that is a growing area. So yes. Thank you for that information. And Diane Cortese, tell us about you. I mean, you've done some exciting things as well, especially in the Hispanic community.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm in a classroom. I'm in the University Ana G. Mendez today because actually the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay has a vaccination drive today. So we're here also collaborating with the NFL alumni here at Tampa. Also, I'm so honored to be side by side in this interview with Kelly. She's a true inspiration. I admire her a lot, and definitely I'm following her footsteps everywhere she goes because she's a true mentor. So Kelly, I know you're doing amazing things, and every time I'm able to see what you're doing, it inspires me too as well. So I'm honored. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Tampa Bay. I'm currently the president. I've been with the chamber for 5 years. We are, of course, located in Tampa. Our offices are also located in 711 East Henderson Avenue in Tampa. So we're there. If you want to stop and pay us a visit, more than welcome. And we have many programs that we have been able to implement, from scholarship, business grants. And this month, the Hispanic Heritage Month, we are celebrating Hispanic Prestige. So we do Hispanic Prestige Awards, Prestigio Hispano Awards, that we celebrate, and we recognize different, not only Hispanic, we recognize you don't have to be Hispanic to be awarded Hispanic Prestige, but we recognize the community that help the Hispanic community, of course. And with that said, I'm also the founder and president of Acumen Strategist, which is a staffing and marketing firm here also in Tampa, but I work at a national level, including the United States, of course, overall, and the Caribbean. So between that, my job and the chamber, yes, pretty busy, but super happy to serve and super happy to be here with all of you. So thank you.
Oh, no, that's perfect. And Diane, you said something about scholarship programs. Many years ago, when I started the Miss Latina International Organization in South Florida, there had been a lot of Hispanic pageants, but no one was doing anything with a scholarship program. And with the help of Al Otero, who also is one of the founders of Miss Latina International, which makes it so interesting, we got our heads together and we said, we really need a scholarship program. And that actually put us on the map because we had partnered with Nova Southeastern University.
Wow.
And we had gotten scholarships up to the tune of $10,000 a year for 4 years. That was like $40,000.
Awesome.
Because Nova is very expensive to attend, and so is Barry.
Oh, yes.
And because those are private colleges. And when we did that, the floodgates opened up. I can't begin to tell you the people that wanted to get involved with us. So that's something that definitely I want to discuss with you going forward, because we have girls up there in the Hispanic community that really, I think that's very important, that they can get some sort of assistance with a scholarship program, because education is where it's at today. Let's face it, women's movement. Okay, we got to keep it going.
Absolutely. That is something that I admire here in the Tampa Bay area, is that our chambers, and when I say our chambers include Kelly, is that we create programs. There's a lot of programs from different organizations, including our chamber and other chambers here in the Tampa Bay area, that really support education. And we said as chamber, we need to do the same. We need to continue the legacy that continues promoting the amazing universities that we have here in the Tampa Bay area. So yes, that's our main focus.
Absolutely fantastic. And Kelly, I want to direct something to you. You mentioned something about being in hospitality. And it's so funny because when you have a background from one industry, you can actually transpose it into something else. And I started, believe it or not, and probably guys can tell, in the cosmetic industry many, many years ago. I was in the cosmetic industry for almost 30 years. I worked for Lancome. I was a trainer. And that's how I was able to implement a lot of my ideas with the pageant. But with the accomplishments you have, I think one of the questions I have for you, and I know I get it all the time, especially in the world of COVID, how are you able to keep your business so strong and get to some of the levels that you just spoke about?
Yeah. So, last March, a year and a half ago, I remember sitting in the boardroom with my staff, and we had made the decision to postpone a few of our events, and we were going to close the physical office and move everyone into remote work. But the chamber never closed. So while there were a lot of businesses that for one reason or another, they weren't able to conduct business for a period of time, the chamber was busier than ever. It was probably the most impactful time in my 8 years here at the chamber. And we really sat and said, what is it that our community needs right now? And what is it that our members need right now? And how can we adjust the operations of our chamber and the services of our organization in order to best suit the business community? So the four of us, I have 4 full-time staff members, and we picked up the phone and we called all 650 members and said, what is happening in your business right now? What do you need? And the things that we heard were they wanted connection. They were stuck at home. Our governor had put a safer at home order in effect, and they were in their homes. They wanted connection to each other. They wanted to market their business, that, those businesses that were still open, even if they were having to do business differently, they were still open and they were still doing business. How can we get the word out to other people to know that our restaurants are doing delivery? And a lot of our stores had converted to online purchasing and things like that. And then they wanted resources. They were looking for information Information was coming out fast and furious at the local, state, and federal level, and they needed to know what to do. And for business owners that were just trying to keep their business open, they didn't have time to read every press release and listen to every news conference. And so that was an area that we could step in and take that information and then disseminate it out to our membership in easy to understand terms. And then the other thing that they wanted was they still wanted to continue to be educated, to grow their business, to take a time that might have been slow for them and to work on ways to make their business stronger in the future. So we really looked at our organization and said, here's the things we can do right now. Here's the things we can't do right now. Everyone's favorite word from 2020, pivot, but it's very true. We pivoted all of our operations and we pivoted our organization to be able to provide the things that our members needed in real time at the time that they needed them. And then throughout the year, we kept going back through that process. So we went through our membership list several times throughout 2020 and the beginning of 2021 and just kept saying, what do you need? Tell us what you need, and then we will figure out a way to make that happen for you. And so what we heard back from our members is while they missed the networking and they missed the in-person events, they found an entirely different and new value out of their chamber membership. And we have business owners that told us the reason their business is still here is because of information and resources they received from the chamber. It helped to keep them open. And we had people that told us during a really difficult and tough time mentally and emotionally, their connection to the chamber and their connection to other chamber members is really what helped get them through a difficult time.
That's absolutely fabulous. And that was something that I had to do as well, with my business, and I had to cancel my annual pageant event like 5 times, but I had to say to myself, what was going to keep me going? What could I do? And I found out that doing live streams and doing Zoom calls, but our advertising. I was able to hook up with a very popular magazine called Supermodels Unlimited, who does advertising on billboards. We were advertised in New York City. We were advertised. In fact, we had a billboard in Tampa, in Orlando, and people saw this. And that's what kept the momentum going. Because I'll be very honest with you, when COVID hit, and of course, like you said, the governor did put that 30-day stay in where everything was shut down, and New York was even worse, because I'm originally from the Northeast. I had a hard time myself coping. I don't say this to too many people because you probably can both gather I have that proverbial gift of gab. But I almost lost my cousin who got COVID. I lost a lot of friends. And I have to say, if it wasn't for my husband and my mother that kept talking to me on a daily basis, I was starting really to feel very depressed. But when I realized that, hey, there's light at the end of the tunnel, and just like you said, what are your people looking for? What do they need? I was able to bounce back. So that's a very inspiring story, and thank you for that. And Diane, I'm going to ask you the same question. When COVID hit last year and everything was locked down, what was your key to success, and how did you keep going and keep your accomplishments as where they are today?
Well, the most overwhelming part was stopping what we were doing. And chambers, we report to our members. So it was suddenly making a sudden stop and planning again, not closing. As Kelly mentioned, it was not an option because businesses needed our help. So we gather some of our members. There are accountants that have accounting firms and CPAs, because there was going to be some help. Well, there was help out there, financial help, but business didn't know, like Kelly was saying. That information that they needed, it was complicated, by the way. It was not easy. A lot of paperwork. And you had to be very careful. Everything was so uncertain that nothing was strictly perfect. So with the help of some of our members that came along to start giving this educational seminars online, actually it came on handy. So we were doing seminars every single week, sometimes even twice a week. It was overwhelming on the type of information that all of our members and the public in general were connecting to learn about. What can I do with my business? Where can I find funding? Do I have to return the money? What am I going to do? So the chamber played a huge, we know government, we know hospitals, we know, but chambers came to be a huge time for them as well. We were busy 12 hours, 14 hours a day for me was truly overwhelming. But yes, we made it happen. We continue providing our grants. Actually, we gave more business grants that year. And for us, we were blessed to receive a grant from the United States Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that allows to pay our rent and utilities and all the things that we have pending that we knew that if we stop charging the membership fee, it will hurt our bottom line. So we also got a grant, and that keep us going on being able to help the businesses. And actually, thank God we're here. Still working. We're already full-time working for our community and with the events. Actually, last night we had an event. Today we have another event, and we're having Hispanic Prestige Awards. We're having a business expo the 1st of October. So we're keeping pretty busy.
Exactly. And I was very lucky too. I got 2 SBA loans, which actually kept my business going. So I was very happy about that. And you're right. Chambers do make a difference. I mean, look at the Global Trade Chamber. When Alan Marie started the success stories, I mean, and in fact, when everything shut down, we were ready to do their big second show, 100 Successful Women in Business. It was going to be at the Hilton Airport in Miami. We had a couple of the mayors that were going to attend. The governor of the state has recognized 100 Successful Women in Business event. And, you know, everything just stopped. But I think you're 100% correct that chambers were a way for people to get involved. And because of certain things like getting grants and getting SBA loans, you were able to keep things going, keep your members happy, and were by doing Zoom and some of these things online to keep things going. So both you ladies are absolutely amazing. I'll tell you the truth. I need to take a back step because you ladies are great. But I'm going to direct this next question over to Kelly. I know that Tampa is very up and coming, and they're doing a lot there. But how do you see the global economy in Tampa right now, especially with a pandemic still looming a little bit?
Yeah, so 2 different points I'd like to make about that. When it comes to our local community, when we're looking at local businesses, we have seen our community come together in a way that we've never seen before in regards to shop local, support local, supporting local businesses, local restaurants, local retail stores. And it's been really incredible to see that people really saw the value in supporting those people who are, you know, your family, your friends, your neighbors, and making sure that their businesses survive this time. The 2 big challenges that we're seeing right now are employment. Businesses are having a difficult time hiring employees, so it's sometimes limiting hours or limiting services that they can provide. And something that is on a larger scale outside of just the Tampa Bay community when we're talking about global impact, of course, right now is supply chain issues. So there are companies that right now just simply can't get specific materials or things from a manufacturing perspective are on delay or on hold. And so I do think that there's a great opportunity. We are going to bounce back locally here in Tampa, in Florida, in the United States, and then globally. But I think that supply chain issue is going to make things take a little bit longer when we're looking at the global scale, because you could be producing something that's happening right here, you know, in Tampa, right here in the state of Florida. But if the materials are coming from somewhere else and those materials aren't available, you know, that's everything right now is kind of on a delay. And I think that's going to be part of the challenge that we're going to see going forward in this next few months and maybe even into the next year is the supply chain demand, and that there's just a challenge right there still to get materials in for manufacturers to produce goods. But locally, we've been really proud to see how our businesses have come together and our communities have supported our small and local businesses specifically to help them get through this time.
Exactly. And I'm looking at one of the comments here where it says COVID affecting our life, but still we keep doing and going to adopting the new normal. And that's very true. We've all had to learn how to adopt. Okay. And especially now that we've got a variant that's looming. And I think that's one of the reasons why, because unemployment has stopped, and we know that extra $300 stopped back in June. But I think people are still a little hesitant to maybe go back. But I think, as you say, if we keep supporting local businesses, I think things will go back. And Diane, I'm going to address that same question to you. How do you see Tampa progressing especially in still a little bit of a pandemic era?
Let me tell you something. I don't want to say it out loud, but this is a time to be in Tampa, but I want Tampa for myself. I'm very proud of Tampa. And I have to tell you, Tampa didn't stop. I'm impressed
Oh,
because, yes, we had to obey and respect at the time that everybody has to stay at home, and it was an order. But you saw the resilience in the people here in the Tampa Bay area and how everybody came together. I only see this just going up. Years there's going to be some challenges, which already Kelly mentioned, and that's really important. But actually, we're not stopping. We're Tampa Bay, and we're constructing and expanding even more. Nothing is stopping the Tampa Bay area. We're in the number 5 in the whole United States city that is the fastest growing city, and not even the pandemic stopped us. So we understand as a community what we're supposed to do. And I believe that in Tampa and its people, we come together and make things happen for our community. I love Tampa because it's a gem. It's a community that even though it's big, we kind of all have a mix of working together and impulsing the economy here. So everybody thrives. Everybody has a great attitude. Especially in a year where everybody's winning, the Buccaneers, the Tampa Lightning. So it's in the atmosphere that everybody, even though we have been going through a difficult situation, we have kept our spirit high, and we've been working really hard. I also lost family. I even lost my father last year to COVID in November. It was a really hard time in my life. This year, just recently, I had another family member die, and it has been tough. Yes. We need to learn how to take care of ourselves in order to have the economy get better, because the economy is each one of us. So we need to take care of, each one is responsible for their health. Each one is responsible to taking care of the rest. So that's my message. The economy will get better. It's slowly going up. We have some challenges, of course, but it's our responsibility as individuals to take care of ourselves and family and everybody that surrounds us.
And you know what you're saying is true. And I think the other question I want to ask you, Diane, with everything that you've accomplished, especially with the Chamber of Business, how did you yourself deal with the stress personally with all of this that happened?
Well, in my case, I do a lot of prayer. I pray a lot. So when I'm in stress, I know my source of peace. In my beliefs, I believe in God. I believe in His power. So I have to say that. And yes, I'm stressed today. I have too many events. I do start my day with a prayer. And of course, I started exercising a couple of months ago. That helped me a lot.
Yes.
But again, and third, I love music. I love music. So you get stressed because you're thinking a lot. You're overthinking. You're organizing. You're preparing. You're thinking ahead. I'm constantly thinking what's next. I'm thinking what's going to happen today. What caused me stress is what am I going to do January? What am I going to do next? It's not most what I'm doing now, because that's working now. I'm always planning. So what releases my stress is stop thinking. I just need something that make me stop thinking. I just don't want to think anymore. So I love music, and I put some music that refresh, and I like to read something that will distract my stress. I like to read books that are inspiring, and it helps me. Just don't think, don't plan. Just relax and concentrate on a beautiful expression, on a nice reading, beautiful music, and of course, my prayers. Definitely that release those moments where I'm stressed and I'm overthinking every single detail, not only of my life, my business, and the chamber, but everything else, also caring about other people. So that's how I cope with stress.
And that's fantastic. You said something about music. Well, yes. I'm going to let you both in on a little secret. I graduated the Juilliard Academy of Music with a degree in operatic studies. I also performed in Phantom of the Opera. So I guess I'm going to have to come up there and do a concert. For for both of you. So,
Yes.
yes, and I will definitely do that. I have a friend of mine that he played the Phantom. That I played the part of Christine Daae, and he played the Phantom. And he actually lives. His name is Paul Stevio. He actually lives in Tampa. So I have to contact him and say, "Hey, we got to come out and do a concert for these ladies and all the people that belong to the chamber." So I will definitely work on that. But Kelly, I'm going to ask you the same thing. With all your accomplishments and everything going on, how did you deal with stress personally?
So a couple years ago, one of my mentors said something to me that really stuck with me. And, we talk a lot about work-life balance. And she said, there's no such thing as work-life balance. There's going to be times where work takes priority. There's going to be times where your personal life takes priority. There's going to be different seasons. There's going to be different things happening throughout your life where, different things have to be the most important in that time. So I'm really fortunate that I have a great support system at home, my husband, and I live right next door to my parents. And so we get to spend a lot of time together as a family. And there's times of the year where the chamber is very busy. We have big events, and especially during, a few months last summer is the busiest we've ever been. Diane mentioned, working 12 and 14-hour days, and that absolutely was the case. I think I didn't have a day off, for almost 2 months. But something really incredible happened last summer. In August of 2020, my husband and I adopted our son. And so in the middle of all of the craziness happening in the world, we brought home a 5-week-old baby. And for us, life stopped because we had this new focus and this new priority and this new person, that had to be our number one for a period of time. And so what I've really tried to do now as a mom of a 1-year-old, and I'm 1 year in, to this motherhood journey, is I really try to, when I'm at work, and I give 110% to my employees, to my members, and to the task at hand and whatever it is I need to focus on while I'm here. And then when I go home at night and I pick up my son from school, I don't open up my laptop. I'm not on my phone when I'm playing with him. I'm focused just on him. And then after he goes to bed and after dinner and my husband and I have some time together, I focus just on him. How was your day? If I'm spending time with my mom or with my family, really just putting the phone down and focusing on them. So I'm a big fan of calendaring my time and time blocking my time and knowing what my day looks like and having control of my schedule. And I found that I'm actually less stressed now with more on my plate than I ever was before. And it's because I just am focused on what I'm focused on right now. And then this afternoon, when I go home and pick up my son, I'll be focused on him. And obviously there's those days where things don't work out the way that they're supposed to. But I have more days that do than don't. And I just try to focus and be present in the moment about what's happening right now. I keep a very long to-do list. As something comes to mind, I keep a notepad on my desk. I write it down. That way it's out of my mind. I have somewhere where it's going to be able to remind me later to get those things done. But just really focusing on being in the moment and being present with whatever the task is at hand and not trying to be all things to all people. I took a step back from some responsibilities and obligations. And I've learned, very kindly to say no to things that are above and beyond whatever bandwidth I have at that time. And that's been something that's been really great for me to learn this last year, is just to, focus on the task at hand and not try to do everything all at one time. And so now when I have a bad day or I'm having a stressful moment, I look at a picture of my son on my desk or pictures on my phone, and it very, very quickly, calms me down and gives me joy. And reminds me why I work so hard, because I'm working for his future.
Oh, that's fantastic. Absolutely. And I've had to do the same thing. I've had to learn time management, which my husband is very good at. Okay. My husband ran a major communications company in New York City for over 30 years. So I've learned a lot from him. So when I get into trouble, I just bounce it off to him. So, but it is a working relationship. He sometimes comes to me for advice and I go to him. So we bounce off of one another. But Diane, I'm going to address something to you. More and more women are getting in the workforce today and are getting in very high positions. Where do you see the future of women in business today?
Well, the future of women in business is getting stronger and stronger. Women are preparing themselves even better. And as you can see between Kelly and I, we have multiple positions and we have multiple responsibilities. So we not only are preparing ourselves for new endeavors, but we are also expanding and creating new things. So yes, women in business, it's not stopping. I can see more in this time in place, this time in era, this new season, this new time, how women are now in very top decision positions, not only in government, but only also in the Fortune 1000 companies,
Yes.
manufacturing, leading construction companies.
Yes.
So we're not moving backwards. Actually, everything is moving forward with women in business and women in technology.
Oh,
That's something that I've seen within the chamber, women moving a lot in technology and engineering. So that's the next level that I see. And manufacturing, yes, that's one of the biggest, especially leading pharmaceutical medical device manufacturing. You can see a lot of women leading that industry as well. So there's only one thing: we are moving forward, we're getting more educated, and yes, we're multitasking on our set of skills. And when I said we're multitasking on our set of skills, is that we're getting better and better what that we're doing even more. Sometimes it's scary, but that's how women
yes.
are. We're mom, we're daughters, we're wife, we can cook, we can work, we can do everything. So I'm very proud in this time to be a woman, of course, and to be able to see so many other thrive, and including my family, my mom who recently retired after working all her life in the banking industry, and I can see all her hats. And still, as you mentioned at the beginning of this stream, my mom is not retiring. She's still working in my family's business. She's still advising in financials for her. So women don't stop. Don't stop. We don't retire.
Exactly. In fact, one of the young ladies that's holding my main title right now, Miss Latina International, she is becoming a NASA engineer. So when you said women are really
There you
stepping,
go.
I was so proud of her when I read that, and that's something I always wanted to do. My husband and I laugh about that all the time. I said I always wanted to be an astronaut, and he said, "Yeah, I could just see you in outer space." I said, "Don't laugh." I said, "Women have gone into outer space." So I mean, and nothing to do with politics. Let's face it. We've got the first woman vice president, okay, of the United States. So it just shows you where women can really take themselves today. And Kelly, I'm going to ask you that same question. Where do you think women in business will be now and let's say 5 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, like Diana said, the women are taking charge and moving up. And, we're seeing in our large corporations that women are moving into more and more C-level positions and more management positions. But we're also seeing a lot of women who are opening their own businesses, who are becoming entrepreneurs and taking things into their own hands. And one of the things that I think is so special about the Tampa Bay community is this tribe of women supporting other women. There's the thought process of turn and pull. If you're successful and you're in a place of success, how can you mentor another young woman to help get her there? How can you look at the person next to you and pull her along, as part of your success? And there's some really incredible organizations here in Tampa that are doing that work. Many of our chambers here in Tampa have women-focused or women-centered programming as well. We have a Women's Connection group that meets here at the chamber, and we do some programming that's centered around female business owners and entrepreneurs. But it's really incredible to see women supporting other women. I think sometimes there's a misconceived notion that women can be catty or competitive, and that's just not what we see here in Tampa Bay.
No.
The women here are very supportive, and they want to work together, and they want to build each other up, and they want to help each other succeed. And that's really exciting to see here. And I think it's something that makes our community so special. And I hope that that's something that's happening, throughout our state and throughout our country as well.
Exactly. And it's so funny what you say that about people being catty or in the Tampa Bay area. They always said that about women of New York City. They said, "Oh my God, it's the lion's den. The women up there will kill you." That was so far from the truth. I mean, New York City, the women were probably the most kindest, most gentle, most intelligent, at least the women that I knew up there. Okay. And it was not a lion's den. People were just afraid because it was New York City. But you had a lot of successful women up there. And I'm glad to see that it's not only in the Northeast, but now in the southern part of the states, and especially Tampa, that's really growing by leaps and bounds. So you ladies have done a fantastic job. I really need to get up there. I'm serious. I really need to connect with both of you. But Diane, I'm going to ask you this question because you're also very successful. What is your 3 tips for success? And what would you tell other people, women or men in general, how to use those tips going forward in their business?
Well, it's really, for me, I put it this way. It doesn't work the fake it till you make it. I can tell you that. It doesn't
Right.
work. You got to have it, and you got to prepare yourself. You need to educate yourself and develop your skills. Second, you need to be humble. Like you were saying, you can be fierce in what you do because you know what you're doing and you have the control, but you have to be humble. And third, yes, you need to work smart and hard. It doesn't work one way or the other. And when I say that, is that you need to put the level of your skills to work, not only for you, but for the community. One of the things that I always advise to the younger generation when I hear them say, I'm confused, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go. And I'm like, you know what? Volunteer. Do volunteer work. It's not only about going and doing the pantry volunteering. It's just going to the company that you would love to work for, but you want to get inspired and learn what they do. Do volunteer work. Many companies here, not only in the Tampa Bay area, but all around the United States will accept volunteer work for you to develop your skills, for you to understand that's the route you want to go. So there's no stopping. There's so many tools in this time and technology that will help you prepare. So as I mentioned, number 1, prepare. Number 2, be humble. And number 3, continue. Don't give up because you have the time of opportunities. So I grew up in the 80s, and one of the things that my family always tell me, oh, the sky is the limit. But we were not in the time of opportunities. You had to create the opportunities. But in this time, opportunities are there. You just got to go and get them. But they are there in the many areas. So there's no time to sit still at home. Go for it.
Exactly. I agree. I love everything that you said. That's one of my philosophies as well. And Kelly, I'm going to ask you the same thing. What are your 3 tips for success? And what would you tell people that want to get in business today and how to use that towards being successful?
Well, the first thing is to have a plan. So especially in business, we have a strategic plan or a business plan that we're working on. But I always talk to people and say, do you have a plan for yourself? Do you have a plan for your life that involves what type of education do you need or do you want? What goals do you have personally or professionally? And lay that groundwork and have a strategic plan for not only your business, but for you personally and your life, whether that be personally and professionally, so that when you get stuck or when you're having a challenge, you can look at that and say, how is this particular project or how is this particular initiative going to help me reach those goals? So whether you're looking 1 year out or 3 years out or 10 years out, what are the goals that you have for yourself personally, and then work backwards and figure out what are the steps that I need to take in order to achieve those goals. The second one is to ask for help. And Diana talked about being humble, but ask for help when you need it. We're not all going to be good at everything. So figure out where are your strengths and weaknesses and play to your strengths, the things that you do really, really well. And the areas where you need help, ask for help. And that could be, hey, I need help creating a business plan, or I have questions about starting my business and identifying resources to help you do that. It could be that you need help, in a certain area. If you're not good at math, if accounting's not your best area, then make sure you hire a really strong accountant, whether that's someone internally or externally. So seek out people that have specialties and that can play to your weaknesses, and that can help you grow your business. And then the third one that I would say is don't be afraid to fail. So number one, you don't truly appreciate your success if you haven't had some failures, to know what it's like on the other side. But you'll never know until you try, and you can't be successful until you try. And sometimes you're going to have failures along the way, and that's okay. You try something and it doesn't work, and then you try something new and it does. And so you make sure you have a plan in place. Ask for help when you need it so you can achieve those goals. And sometimes if you don't hit your goal on the first time, it's okay to fail, try again, and you'll be successful the next time.
And what you said is absolutely true. I failed a couple of times, and I'm not afraid to say it, but it was those failures that made me become more successful down the road. And I think what I always say, the way I measure success, and I tell this to Aloe Terra all the time, so a model that I try to live with. Promise what you deliver and deliver what you promise. And the way I measure success is not by myself, but the wonderful people that I'm surrounded with, and especially two ladies like you. That's how I measure my success, because it's sharing. Success is sharing. Okay. Like we're sharing a story here today. And I always say, it's not about me. It's about the people that I associate myself with. So that was very well said from both of you. I love both those answers. But anyway, Diane, I'm going to ask you this question. And I hear this all the time. Growing up today, the youth of America has, and I think around the world, the youth, they have a lot of challenges, especially with COVID, especially with their peers in school. So what advice would you give to the youth of America today?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned with the other tips, it's about education. And I'm not saying that university is for everybody. I'm saying that you need to go and develop your skills. You need to know, you need to go and study. You need to go and get a course or go to a technical college or institute. But you need to study. You need to make sure you develop the skills that you know you have. And if you don't know where they're at, then that's why you need to educate yourself. So that's number one. And number two, as I mentioned also before, I do believe in doing internship and doing volunteer work as well, because that helps you take an idea of what is it that you really want. We have a lot of youth to this point that everybody wants to do, everybody wants to do the same thing in technology. Everybody wants to design games. Everybody wants to design clothing, and everybody wants to be a model and want to do makeup, and that's perfect. That's what you want, but there's more out there. It's like recently everybody's going to space. Suddenly, where did everybody came from? And yes, that's what it is. Is that there's opportunities out there to create and to do. Not necessarily depend on a specific company to be successful. You can go out there and make things happen. So with that said, education is truly important. And second, put it into practice and don't let that hold you back. Just move forward in terms of getting a place where you want to practice your gifts. So, and recently, and now that I'm here also at the University of Ana G. Mendes, that was part of the mentorship that I gave to a group of young students on their position that they're studying. They don't know if they're going to get work. And I said, well, you need to try since now. You need to work on that from now. You need to work on your skills. And why do I mention skills? Because that's the first thing when you're going to look for a job opportunity. It's about your skills because you don't have enough experience. But did you focus on your skills and developing and being good at it? Then that's what's going to open your doors.
Exactly. And again, you're saying something that I totally believe in. Education is key. Without that, I mean, you could do anything you want. And, a lot of people don't realize that when you have a resume, there's a resume for business, but there's a functional resume. People will look at things that you've done as far as hobbies or other things that you've accomplished. If you were president, like you say, of a chamber or things like that. But when you've got that education, it opens so many doors. I mean, during the time of the financial crisis in 08 and 09, and like I said, my husband had worked for the telecoms industry for years, and that was an industry that was hard hit. Not only the fact that he had on his resume that he was a veteran, but the fact that he had 2 college degrees kept him working. And even though he had to reinvent himself, that was the key. They looked at that. whether it was a new college degree or it was several years ago. But the fact that he had that education is what kept him working. So I totally agree with that. So Kelly, what would you tell the youth today and going forward and being in business?
So I have the awesome opportunity of serving on the board of directors for Girl Scouts of West Central Florida, and I get to spend a considerable amount of time with young women here in the Tampa Bay community. And let me tell you, they are an impressive group. And anytime that I have a fear, for our future, and I get to spend some time with these women and hear some of the incredible things that they are already doing, in middle school and high school, it squashes those fears completely, because these young women are doing amazing things already. And to think that in the next 20 or 30 years, they're going to be the ones leading our communities and leading our businesses is really awesome and really inspiring to see and to get to be a part of. And I agree with what Diana said, just continuing to educate yourself. And as she said, it doesn't mean university. It could mean, going into a trade or just following your passion for whatever it is that you want to do. If you're passionate about something, you're going to enjoy what you're doing. It doesn't seem like work every day when I come here to the chamber, because I love it. But even at my age, with, being in the workforce for more than 20 years, I'm still always wanting to learn more. I completed 3 certificate programs with 2 of our local universities this past year, always reading books. So don't ever stop learning. Don't ever think that you already know everything, right? Especially when we're young, when we're teenagers, or maybe in our early 20s, you get out of school and you think like, I know everything, I'm ready to take the world on. And you quickly learn as you go through life and as you get into the workforce that, we don't truly know everything. And so just continuing to learn and being open to that, being open to different experiences and different people and different viewpoints, seeking out, diversity and getting to learn from other people who have different backgrounds from you, people who have different experiences from you, and how can your experiences help, to move each other forward. And so I do think that this next generation of young people coming up are really just going to do incredible things. And one of the most important things that we can do is to continue to encourage them and mentor them and find those opportunities, to be with them and help lead the way. So we can't expect them just to figure it all out on their own. It's part of our job, in our positions now to help lead them down that path. But I agree with what Diana said. You're just continuing to educate yourself and learn, whether it's learning a skill, whether it's being inside a business and learning what the next steps are, or what a different department does, reading, and just looking for all the ways that you can learn something new or learn from someone different.
And you know what? I think we touched upon something, because I'm looking at the comments coming in. I think education. Okay. Everybody is agreeing. Education is key. I'm seeing these comments. So I think that was a great topic to touch on. And another reason why I believe in education is because, you hear this every day on television, and especially in certain neighborhoods, there is a lot of disparity going on. Okay. There's so many people that aren't eating and can't be part of certain groups. But why? Because of education. And I think that's something that when I do my community service that I like to reach out on, the more we can educate our youth and educate anyone, you'll see the world will change. People will come together. You won't have so much right now. Everybody is so divided. And it's because there are, like you say, you got to keep yourself knowledgeable. If people don't know things, we're going to have this problem. So I definitely agree with it. Education is key. Hey, if somebody told me to go back to school tomorrow, I loved school. Okay. I was probably my mother used to laugh. She said, all your friends ain't going to school. You love to get up in the morning, get dressed, and go to school. I said, yeah, I find it interesting, but knowledge is power. So I think all 3 of us here are on that subject, and I love it. And I think it's great. But Diane, what I'd like to ask you is, because you're a lot like me, who has really inspired you? Who was your true inspiration?
Well, my true inspiration, I think I mentioned it before. It's my mom, because I saw her. I really saw her thrive. I really saw her. She's a New Yorker. She was born in Puerto Rico, but raised in New York. I was different. I was born in New York, raised in Puerto Rico. But when my mom came to live to Puerto Rico because of business opportunity, She didn't speak Spanish. So, but she still went to Puerto Rico and she made it happen. And she learned the language. She went back to school and she had 2 jobs. And again, she made it happen. By the way, that's the slogan of my business, which is Acumen Strategies. It's called You Made It Real, but we make it happen. And I use that because it comes from my mom. Second, and not less important, it's my children. We are the Puerto Rican Brady Bunch. I have 5 children. They're no longer babies. I'm almost empty nested. I only have 1 at home. They're adults already. But yeah, seeing them and wanting to give them the best, and not only on resources, but educate them as human beings, being good human beings, productive human beings. Those were my inspiration. The first one will always be God because He's the one who moves my life purpose. But here in this time and in this earth, it has to be my mother and my children.
That's beautiful. I love that. I love the way you said that. Yes, that was very inspirational. And you're right. And Kelly, who actually influenced you, or I would say, who was your inspiration?
Yeah, for me, it was also my mom. She was a single mom for a period of time. And then her and my stepdad have celebrated almost 30 years together. And he's an incredible man as well. But I watched my mom as an entrepreneur, as a business owner growing up. I used to go work with her from time to time during summers. And then at 60 years old, she retired from the beauty industry. She had been a hairstylist for, nearly 40 years and went to go work for her husband's company and the plumbing and mechanical company that they owned together. And to go from the beauty industry to the construction industry at 60 years old at a time when many people are starting to contemplate retirement. And she went into an entire new career field and a new challenge. And so growing up, just watching her do that. And the other thing was that she was an avid volunteer, and I grew up, attending functions and events with her and watching her do that. She was the cookie mom for my Girl Scout troop, and she did work for a burn camp, helping children, do paramedical makeup to be able to cover their scars, and with American Cancer Society for women that had undergone chemo, and helping them to feel good, to look good and feel good about themselves while they were going through, those difficult times. And through all of it, to her, the only reason that she was doing it is because she wanted to help someone else. And so she didn't realize at the time that I was getting the opportunity to watch my mom as a servant leader and leading these initiatives. But to her, she was just helping other people because that was the right thing to do. And so for me, it's been a huge inspiration as I've then found volunteer opportunities and things outside of my professional world that I'm passionate about, and things that I want to help improve for my community. And so she definitely had the biggest impact on me, because when I look back at all of the things that I've done, professionally or personally, I can tie it back to learning those skills from her. Inspiration now, as a new mom, especially, it's definitely my son, because everything I do now is to prepare him and to make sure that his future is going to be a positive and bright one. And so, the chamber does a lot of advocacy work, and sometimes it's hard, and sometimes you have people that are opposed to some of the things that you're working on, and sometimes you really have to dig deep to make sure that we're advocating for the right things and to move our community forward in a positive way. And now I have, in addition to just wanting my community to be great, I want my community to be great because in 20 and 30 years, I want my son to stay here, and I want him to love Tampa as much as I do. And so, every day when I think about the hard work that we're doing, it's because I want to create a really beautiful and fabulous place for him to get to grow up, and then for him to get to live. And I hope that someday he'll follow in those footsteps in giving back, to others and to our community as well.
No, that's fantastic. And I'll tell you, my inspiration was my dad. He was a simple man, but in his 40s, he took very, very ill. He survived brain surgery 3 times. Okay, had to learn how to talk and walk all over again. Survived open heart surgery. And he was a man who worked for a public service gas company for over 25 years. But when all this happened to him, he always saw a smile on his face. And he was a man who almost lost his life, came back, and actually went and took a job and was cleaning floors for all the major retail companies. Okay. And he lived to 85 years old. At the end, he got lymphoma, leukemia. But how could you go through all that and still get back up and have a smile on your face and still take a job in your late 60s and early 70s? So that was my inspiration. And, when I had an operation a few years ago, the nurses in the hospital couldn't understand why I kept saying, before they put me to sleep, I'd say, if my father could do it, I can do it, when I had to have my hip replaced. And the nurses didn't know why I was saying that. When my mother walked in the room, they asked her, they said, why does Angela keep saying that about her dad? And my mother would say, you got about 20 minutes? Let me explain to you why. And when she would tell the story, they said, oh, now we understand it. So he was a simple man, but he was a man who fought everything that was thrown at him and came back and fought. And, Diane, I have something that I wanted to say to you when you mentioned Puerto Rico. At our last pageant, we had Tito Puente Jr. perform for us.
Uh-huh.
And I knew his dad very well. In fact, I was able to call his father Dad, the great Tito Puente.
Yes.
And let me tell you something about the people from Puerto Rico. They are very proud. They went through a lot with that hurricane, but they are fighting back. And I'll tell you, every time I am around that community, they are so hospitable. They also believe in education. And I was so honored to have the Puerto Rican community at my last pageant. So, Diane, I thank you for bringing that. I thank you for bringing that up. So, Kelly, I want to direct this to you. What is coming up and what do we have to look forward to at the chamber and all your going-ons in Tampa?
Oh my gosh, it's just like Diane said it earlier. It's a great time to be in Tampa Bay. We're getting ready to ramp up for the holiday season. So of course, making sure that we continue to support our small and local businesses through this holiday time. It's a busy time for retailers. Chamber-wise, we're going to be closing out our 95th anniversary this year. We are actually going to be relocating our office at the end of this year. So excited for that. We have a couple really great announcements that I'm not able to share just quite yet. But for those of you that are local, be on the lookout because there's some incredible things that we have planned going into the new year and the next 95 years for the chamber. Coming up in October, we have a Biz Expo. So excited to showcase many of our businesses in a full day conference. We have a golf tournament coming up, and then first quarter, we're just going to start right out of the gate, returning with our Breakfast with the Mayor and the Taste of South Tampa and our Business of the Year awards in the first quarter of next year. So the chamber never slows down. We're working on behalf of businesses, working for your business, so you can work in and on your business, 365 days a year. So just looking forward to continuing to move forward here in our community, help businesses through this time of transition, and to continue to support our city and all the really cool and awesome things that are happening here.
That's great. You better send me some of those invitations because I have to come up there, and I will definitely have some of my ladies attend that. And Diane, what have you got on your plate coming up? Because it sounds like you have a lot of exciting things.
So we're working many projects for our members. As you can see from our agenda, not only our monthly events, but for next year, we need to have a board that has employees and work full-time paid. So we're right now working on establishing for next year a workforce. And that's a milestone for the chamber because we have too many volunteers, and that's great, but we need to get employees on board. So that's number one. And number two, we are working on the design of an accelerator program, but in manufacturing. So our focus will be manufacturing. So those are major projects that we want for next year. However, all of our programs continues. Adelante, which is scholarship. We have Prestigio Hispano every year, and we have Empresario Emprendedor, which is our business grant that we will continue promoting in terms to getting all the funding to be able to give back to those business that needs. So those are the two projects and the three programs that we have that we will continue pushing and making it stronger.
Oh no, that's fantastic. As I said, you got to send me invitations because this sounds like
I
there's a lot.
will.
And as a matter of fact, I have to do an event up there. One of my models, and she competed. She's Italian, so she competed as Miss Italy in the pageant. Her mom was a nurse, and her mom passed away from COVID. And we honored her with the Woman of the Year award at the pageant this year. But I was very honored to accept the award on her behalf last weekend from the president. She got the Gold Lifetime Achievement Award in honor of her mom. And when I told her this on the phone, she just broke down in tears. And she lives up in Tampa. So I said, okay. I said, I'm going to come up there. I said, I'm going to definitely bring your plaque and your letter. I said, and we'll find a venue, I said, to present this to you. So maybe there's something we could definitely work out. And I think, as I said, I have to do a couple of events up there. So I think it's, it's a time to, let's say this, honor Tampa. Everybody always wants to come down to Miami, but I think we have to definitely honor Tampa. So, Kelly, do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to say to all our viewers that are watching? Or anything special? And let's say, what's your enlightenment statement for today?
Well, thank you so much for having us. This was a lot of fun. It's always exciting to get to just, spend some time with like-minded friends and share what's happening here in the community. For those that are joining us from outside of Tampa, please come visit. Please come see all the cool things that we're doing here. And Diane, because it is September, I just also want to say I'm excited to be supporting Hispanic Heritage Month going into this next couple of weeks and promoting some of our Hispanic-owned businesses here in our community as well. And really excited for the work that you all are doing at your chamber, and excited to partner with you in the future too. So keep us also on your list for all those cool programs you have, so we can help promote them. But so I think one of the things that we didn't really talk about when we're talking about supporting your business and growing your business is join your local chamber. So wherever you are joining us from, whether it's here in Tampa or elsewhere, if you're looking for resources for your business and opportunities to connect to the community, please consider joining or learning more about your local Chamber of Commerce.
Great. And Diane, because we're almost out of time, what is your closing remarks?
The chambers are not only for business, it's also for the young generation. So come on board. Chambers are here to stay. We help our community. We support everybody. So come here. And another thing, stop calling clients. You need to build relationships. It's relationships that gets business done. So join the chambers. We're here for you.
Perfect. That's what my husband always says, building relationships. Well, ladies, it's been absolutely an honor and amazing. On behalf of Al Otero and Maria, the Global Trade Chamber, 100 Successful Women in Business, it has absolutely been a pleasure to host both of you. You were amazing. And to all our viewers out there, it has been a pleasure to have you listening in. And we hope to see everyone again next time on Success Stories for 100 Successful Women in Business and the Global Trade Chamber. Thank you so much. Have a fabulous weekend. God bless you in everything you do, and keep up the great work. Have a good one.